It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Usually it's her job to do the sing. Thank you for jumping in before she had the chance.
Beat her to the point.
Joy to the world, the flames are going bowling, but not just an evil game.
She always takes it. You think, oh, it's gonna be the one line, and then she's like, let's go into the second verse.
It's not just any game, it's a Feliz Navidad, a fiesta. You guys are not supportive at all. Guys, we're going to the Fiesta Bowl.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. Tell me what you guys were doing during this selection show and how you found out.
Oh, wow.
Reactions.
How did I? Well, and I was watching on TV.
Yeah.
So I was at the house watching on TV, and then you have those wild emotions that go back and forth, and it's like, this is a classic. Reese is in the kitchen doing some homework with Dina. She told him that he had to rewrite his whole paper.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not rewriting this whole thing.
Yeah.
And they're getting ready to do the announcement. And so I got this background of the two of them arguing away about how he's going to rewrite it. He's like, Mom, I don't want to rewrite it. I'm like, will you guys be quiet? And then while that's going on my head.
Homework in a time like this?
And that works.
What?
Then I'm watching, and then all the emotions are going like, they're not going to get it. Like, it's not going to happen. Then I'm like, no, I think they're going to get it. They're not going to get it.
When it wasn't the Peach Bowl, I was like, oh no. Because that was the one it seemed like it was trending towards that way. And when it wasn't there, you're like, okay, like SMU's a whole lot closer to Phoenix than we are. You know, it's like, does that fact? It's like, boy. And then there you go. I was in the room with the team. The horribly grainy footage of the celebration, that was from my phone because apparently
he doesn't know the secret. You have to be on Liberty's guest Wi-Fi.
Apparently the employee Wi-Fi is not good over there. Didn't know that until it was too late. But yeah, so watching that. So I was standing there, ESPN FaceTimes me in, right, on my phone. So,
ESPN FaceTimes me.
Did they get? I turned the camera around real quick. I hit the turn around and be like, hey boys, just want to break this one down for you. Thanks for checking in.
Hey Herbie, just how things going for you, Herbie?
They cut me off.
Kids are doing great. I'll tell them.
I went on like a 4-minute breakdown, and then I realized, they had already moved on to something else. But they were like 10 seconds ahead of the room, so they flashed on my phone the graphic, Liberty, Oregon. And I'm seeing it. Everybody else is still watching the TV. So I kind of like look over at Brad Queen and kind of give him a little like wink, like we're good. I don't know if he knew what that meant or not, or if he's just like, what's this guy's problem?
Why is this guy winking at me?
Why is he winking at me? But yeah, unbelievable. Just so cool. Like just the emotion in that room because I felt good about it. Sunday morning, I go to church. Joe, you need to take that?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll talk about,
it's Durkin.
He's coming on here in just a minute. Coach Durkin.
What you got for me, Dirks?
Okay.
We're actually going to be talking. We pre-taped the interviews.
Coach Durkin's coming on here in a moment.
They got it. Dirks, you just follow. They'll bring you over. You're a high celebrity member of this university.
This is happening.
This is quality radio.
Just come on over. They got you all. Tell them to get the limo put out front.
Yeah. They got you.
Bye.
I think my neighbors thought I was getting murdered because I was screaming at the top of my lungs, so excited. Could not believe it.
Well, I felt really confident. Church Sunday morning, everybody's like, what do you think? I'm like, we're good. Yeah. And then the two polls come out.
Do we
and
just
all
want
of
to
a
bring
sudden,
Billy Durkin?
It's like, I don't know about it anymore. When SMU had jumped us in those two polls, that's when I started getting a little bit nervous. But yeah, Coach Durkin, let's get him in here. Do we just want to mic him up?
Should we just mic him up?
Let's do it live. We'll do it live, Doug.
Let's do it live.
We'll do it live.
Fine.
Come on in, Coach.
Go, Dirks.
They know about how we do things around here.
This isn't the prettiest.
This is the first time you're on the Flame Central
time in,
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Right.
Welcome.
What's up, Dirks? What I'm talking about. Big old road graders, baby. That's some big old road graders.
This is just live. We're making it happen.
That's right.
Sorry.
This is how things work when you're part of a New Year's Six.
You
know?
See?
Took your phone
took
call
my phone call right on
air.
it. I didn't know that.
I left my ringer on just
Kind
for
of
you,
special.
Dirks.
Yeah, that's why.
His ringer's always on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that for interrupting.
No.
I didn't know if I was on
You
right.
do not have to apologize.
No,
We were actually just talking about how we found out our reaction to the big news.
Yeah, what were you thinking in those final moments? They're running through all the games.
All right, you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, so the truth was,
Joe doesn't even have his shoes on.
Yeah,
this is like
get comfortable.
I'm rolling out my
what kind of operation is this?
Yeah, I'm rolling out my
what kind
foot.
of operation is this?
So we're sitting there,
Yeah.
and the last one they put up is the Fiesta Bowl, which of course is obviously it's there in Arizona, but it's west.
Yes.
And we're thinking, because we're thinking Peach Bowl, right? Like
Right.
close East
Right.
Coast, all that, traveled, yada yada.
Head west, young man.
And we were like,
That's it. Yeah.
and then it hit, and we're like, what? It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, you were there, you saw
Yeah.
that in the video. It's nuts.
Did you know that
Awesome.
Matt knew like 10 seconds before everybody else did?
In
Did
the
ya?
room. He was on FaceTime with ESPN.
My phone was
was talking to
the
Herbie at the
team
time.
shot that ESPN took, and so it's ahead of the TV. So
Right.
like for 10 seconds,
Right.
it's showing that graphic. I'm looking at Brad Queen and I don't know. He's like, why you leave me alone?
We used to do that in the FCS days, right? And at other places where we'd sit and we'd have the thing, and you knew you were behind
Mhm.
from what was actually happening, but you never know how much and whatever, and it was pretty crazy.
Coach, how long do you stay in this state of celebration and just how amazing soaking that in before you're like, we got some work to do?
Yeah,
Big time opponent in Oregon.
Well, I mean, right now we're meeting with our guys and making sure the team is good and everybody's in good shape. This transfer portal bit is an ordeal to have to deal with. So we're trying to keep everybody together with that. So that's keeping you busy. I met with O-linemen all morning, so that was keeping my mind off things, I guess. Then we got recruiting. We got to hit the road.
Right.
It's so such a
So
crazy time.
and we got to make a schedule. I know Brad and Coach and Jamie are working on that, but we got to get a schedule together. But really want just talking to kids about finishing school. I mean, gosh, they come this far, and then for not to be able to go if they don't finish their academics the right way.
You're eligible by then, don't you?
You got to be. So that's the other thing. Sometimes you sneak them in if it's an earlier bowl. There ain't no sneaking.
No.
You either make it or you don't.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. So you gotta make sure that they're on their stuff, and and some of them got some work to do. So.
What do you think? Because we've always talked about a game like this, what it can do for a program. For you're getting ready to hit the road recruiting. What can it do, you feel like, when you walk into somebody's house now compared to before Liberty was in the New Year's season?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that the exposure that you get, and just the way we've played, I think, credit to these kids, but like it puts you out there. You're ranked. You're ranked.
Yeah.
Now you're playing one game. The game. There is nobody else playing.
Yeah.
On the day that people want to watch football. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
With that being said, Coach, when you guys go on the road recruiting, you have a group of kids that you're recruiting. Now that you get into this type of game and you're playing this type of competition, this level, this type of exposure, does that bring players that you wouldn't have expected to recruit back into the mix? With somebody that's like, hey, this kid's getting recruited by a Tennessee or Virginia Tech that we probably really didn't have a shot at, but now we feel as if we may have that chance. Is that a possibility of some of the kids that you're looking at in recruiting?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that it's more so going forward.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few kids that are already committed to us for this class.
Yeah.
And some of the majority of the recruiting that's going on right now is going out and making sure that they're set. And, a lot of them are mid-year, meaning they'll be here in January.
Yeah.
So you're trying to make sure just to solidify that commitment and make sure that they're good to go. And everything is good with them. But, they're fired up. But it certainly does open doors to some people. Whenever you have brand recognition, man, there's people are going to listen to you, and I've always said this, I've been fortunate. I've always coached at the Division I level, and when you walk into the high school with a scholarship in your hand, people are going to listen. You know what I mean? And now with the stage that we're on and the success that we've been able to have this year, but for the program historically, there's people going to listen.
They know.
Coach, let's paint the picture, because when you look back a year ago, I think it was a year ago today, Chadwell was hired. You guys had the coaches frat house. Remember, we haven't even asked you about that. And now all of a sudden,
Do you
you're
really
like,
want to
I
know?
don't
No,
have
you don't want to know.
I don't have time to talk about that. I'm preparing for Oregon. But just like what you guys have been able to accomplish, I just keep going back to that. Put into words, if you can, how difficult it's been to be able to reach this level of success.
Well, it certainly wasn't easy, and I don't think any of us would have sat here in January or coming out of the spring and said, oh, we're on the cusp, we're close, we're right there.
Yeah.
I mean, everything kind of had to fall into place. Certainly the quarterback played outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, Caden had a great year, but we had guys on the O-line who had never knew each other, let alone played with each other. And that's a position that we take a lot of pride in them having trust in each other. And shoot, they didn't even know each other, and we had to utilize the transfer portal to take care of some deficiencies that we had. And with some of the pieces that were here, it's pretty magical, really, how it all kind of has come together. We've stayed pretty healthy, knock on wood. I mean, I've had my same starting 5 all year, which is extremely unusual. But that's, a credit to Coach Scott. Thank God we got him out of the animal house over there, so he's all set. He can focus on what he's got to do. He's got his own animal house with his kids running around. But no, I mean, that's it's hard to believe it was a year ago. Time flies, really. And here we are.
Who in that room has kind of brought everybody together? Because you have all these new faces like you talk about, and then you have an injury to Brandon. You have a lot thrown at you. Who's been kind of your guy that's kind of helped keep everybody together from a player perspective?
Well, Gadlin's the guy who's out in front, and he certainly is that guy. And Brendan has been in every meeting, and has really tried to be the second coach.
Wow.
Well, in the room,
That's cool.
Trey too. I don't want to discount Trey Carter, but just being that guy. But X, it did a great job. Xavier, and John, I really like John. I mean, I'm most probably proud of John Graham. I mean, the kid didn't play a whole lot previously, and he's been awesome. And he's tough as nails, and he doesn't say anything, and he just works. And so I've been really proud of him. But, there's a bunch of unselfish kids, which is really, those are the kind of kids you want to coach.
Now, I know, you've got a lot going on, so you probably haven't gotten super deep into Oregon. But just in general, when you make that jump from playing the teams you've been playing to a Power 5, and not just any Power 5, you're going to a top 10 Power 5. What's the biggest difference? What's maybe the challenge that you see most from an offensive line standpoint? How has it changed?
Well, I'll tell you from personal experience, having played at UMass, and it was FCS at the time.
Yeah.
And we were good then, by the way. We were winning games.
No, we know. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, you come from the FCS level, and then I was in camp with the Patriots, and I was just like, slow this down, how fast it was.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to be a little bit of a shock, because even here, I mean, we've played some really good teams, we've played some really good players individually, but as a collection for a unit and for a team, I mean, it's going to be a speed that they haven't seen. So to try to mimic that speed is going to be critical in the weeks preparing. But also, when you get out there, is just not getting like, oh my God, what's going on?
Not
just
doing
kind of
something you haven't
settle
done
in.
before,
Like
right.
we're fine. We know what we're doing, and I mean, honestly, I think that our O-line's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a credit to those kids. But I mean, we'll be able to run some offense. It's not, we're not going to get. We'll be fine.
Woo. Yeah. I'm so excited. Can we play tomorrow? No, I know you guys need more time.
We need a little time. Please.
So, Coach, what has been the key? Like when I watch you guys play a championship game, especially from, leading the nation in rushing, right? You guys, and I've always said this from day one, is that for this offense to really generate and get up and go is your ability to run the ball between the tackles, which you guys have done an unbelievable job of doing. That sets up so much of everything else. But then what I was super impressed with in that championship game was your pass protection. I mean, Caden sat back down there and had plenty of time, and then when if there's nobody open, he was able to take off and run. Even so I just watched the overall aspect of your offensive line. What has it been to be able to go from where you were in the spring to get where you were in that Conference USA Championship? How are you able to do that so fast with a brand new group of guys?
Yeah, it was a lot of work. And they put in a lot of time. And I think more than anything, we talked about our word embrace, and they embraced what we were teaching. And I've always been that guy who we need to know what we're doing. There's no question about it. But I'm passionate about the science, the physics of actually like the body and moving people.
Moving people, right.
and how you protect. That's a skill. And they've taken it to heart. And our ability to run the ball has certainly helped us in our pass protection because, you can make them think it's run every single time and it could be because we can't do it.
Right.
So that always helps you.
Yeah.
But they've embraced the things that we've taught. They've worked hard to get better at everything. And quite frankly, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
We're not bad.
What's it like having this level of success with a staff that so many of you have been together for so long? Does that make it even more special that it's not like, well, I just, I'm bouncing up the chain, I pop in here for a couple of years, like you guys have gone through it together for such a long time.
And who's the most annoying on the staff? No, I'm just joking.
No, he's ready to answer that. Yeah, Dirks, go ahead and answer that.
No, the funny thing is, so I'm like the odd man out. I'm the new guy. I'm the only one who was part of the original staff when Jamie came into Coastal. Whatever, we clicked. And, when he was making some changes, my wife's like, what's going to happen? And this and that. I said, well, I've been interviewing for 2 years. So he either likes me or he doesn't. So, and if it's over, it's over. But if it's on, we're on. But no, and a lot of these guys have been together a lot, even longer. But, you just think about when you guys are able to accomplish things with your peers and your friends and people that you care about, it makes it that much more special. People were tearing up yesterday because of, and I think we all understand the amount of work. I've been doing this a long time and haven't been on this stage, and it's, but I've been doing this a long time for a reason. You survive by being able to do the job, and I think we got some tremendous coaches that do it at an extremely high level, and the results have been there this year.
When we've asked a lot of coaches and players about you as a coach, just the ability to communicate clearly is not something that I do well, but trying to get this question out. So what has made you, or who have you maybe reached out to as a mentor of like how to coach that way? Or were you coached that way by someone that is, really not just yelling at the guys, you're just able to communicate? Because I even see you like on the sidelines and it's just like so calm, cool, and collected when you communicate to your guys.
Well, I'd love to tell you it happened naturally, but it didn't. It was something that took me some time to develop. I do credit Jamie, and I credit Joe Moglia was phenomenal. Just about keeping your cool, like you said. When I was a young coach now, no, forget about it. I'm throwing things in the locker room.
Did you snap a few clipboards, Coach?
I still probably owe some money to some places I've worked, but no, you grow and you mature. And honestly, quite frankly, I'm getting too old for this. I'm not going to be up screaming and yelling at you. We're either doing it the right way or you're not doing it.
You're no spring chicken anymore, are you?
No, but you figure out that I think the key to coaching is every kid is different, and you got to find the right buttons to hit. Because I may be able to scream and yell at you. I'll take him for you get after him a lot more harder and he'll respond versus a guy, all right, listen, we got to coddle you. Not coddle, the wrong word, but put your arm around and be like, hey, listen, do you understand what you did was wrong? So I work really hard at trying to attack the action and not the kid. Because the kid, you're not a dumb whatever. Yeah. But what you did was really, really dumb.
That was,
And if you continue to do
action was
those
dumb.
You're
not dumb.
Right. And that's what it is. And as soon as but if they understand that, and they know that you have their best interests, it becomes easy. But they're not all the same. They are not all the same. Some of them are extremely temperamental. And sometimes, you can overcoach a kid. And you don't want that to happen, especially at O-line.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, I got a couple in the room right now in the conversation. Hey, coach, what about...
Yeah.
Block that guy.
Move him.
Yeah, but what? No, just go block him.
Move him.
Yeah, that's it. Right? That's it. Just go.
What's the best bowl game that you've been in? The highest or the best?
Well, the Military Bowl, when I was at Bowling Green, the Military Bowl was pretty sweet. We stayed in D.C. and we played in RFK Stadium.
Oh, I played at RFK.
Sitting in the visitors' locker room with where Lombardi sat. Like that. Those are some pretty cool moments. But but this will be the biggest for sure.
Yeah.
With that being said, what do you think the key is for the players? Because they're going to be on this national stage January 1st, New Year 6. Everybody in the nation watching. What do you think? How do you coach them from the aspect of not allowing them to get too big-eyed? Because that's going to be the natural.
That's going to be tough.
And in that situation, you have a tendency to freeze. How do you keep it where you can say, guys, it's just a football game. Go out and just play. What do you tell the kids? What do you tell your guys?
Well, quite frankly, I think there'll be some learning for us too. I mean, I've played at Michigan. I've coached, and you walk into those places and you get that. You look around a little bit, and hopefully we'll get there early. We know that, and we'll get that a little bit out of their system early, and just understand that what got us here is, we've played 13 championship games already. That's the way we approach it in our office, and we're not changing. So this is just another opportunity for another championship, and let's just go play. And remember, fall back on the habits that you've developed and worked on and that have gotten us here. And, the other thing is going to be, they put on their pants one leg at a time too. So they still got to tie their own shoes. You know what I mean? They're going to be very talented. They're very good. There's no question about it. But you know what? We got some pretty talented kids too.
Coach, when I was playing at North Carolina, we were getting ready to play Oklahoma against Barry Switzer, and somebody said, I think Mac Brown said, they put their pants on one leg at a time, and one of the reporters said, yeah, they just do it a lot faster.
I was going to say we're sitting down.
Maybe a little bigger pants too.
Pants are bigger and they do it a little faster.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's an awesome opportunity.
Sure.
We got to get over the excitement part and get back to work. But there's still a lot of, just some planning and things which thankfully I don't have to do. But just once we get an idea of how we're going to handle the whole month, because it's a month. Mm-hmm. My wife's already talking about this, that, and I'm like, it's a month away. And it does sneak up, but but still, it's like, huh.
Hey, in this age of college football, you look at the Boise State's beating the Oklahoma back in the day. You look at Tulane, what they did last year against USC. It's like there's no reason to think that for 1 second that with the number one rushing offense in the nation, Caden Salter, our quarterback, the weapons you have, the O-line's playing, all these things. There's no doubt in mind whatsoever that you can step into that big arena and compete all day long.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We earned it. At the end of the day, we earned this. Yeah, we didn't, right. Nobody handed this to us. I don't care who you play, when you play. You win 13 games, that's pretty darn impressive. I've never been a part of it. I've had some really good years coaching and playing, and never like this.
Yeah, Coach, what's your message to the haters? Because I'm having a really hard time using keeping my cool on Twitter to Liberty didn't deserve this, strength of schedule, blah, 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 blah. What's your message to the haters?
I'd like to take your phone away.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that aggravates me is I understand what they say with the strength of schedule, but like everybody said, that strength of schedule is based on a rating that they did before anybody played a game.
Thank you.
And, I would argue that has changed. Now, I also know this is that as soon as, and I'm not the boss and I'm not privy to all the information, but you guys would know this better than I, that before this schedule was set for this year, moving into Conference USA, through all the schedule was out the window because you had to incorporate
100%
all the schools that for the league purposes, and there were people lining up to get out of playing us early.
One of them was.
Yeah. But no, so there's only so much you can do with what you have. So whatever. We lined up.
Whatever.
We played 13 games and we won every game.
Right.
And I'm not ashamed of anything.
That's right.
Bill Durkin came on the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Oh, yes.
And Joe didn't even say, you put your thumb in
Joe has his bit. He has his Durkin.
And I'm just like, what? Sit Joe down. He has his shoe off. He's rolling.
Come January 1, all the fireworks go off, right? And they come out and the smoke happens. The crowd goes crazy. Everybody's going to have their pom-poms. Everybody's going nuts. And then when you put the ball on the ground, and you snap the ball in between your legs, you rear back, and you take your thumbs, he's doing right inside of that pant, and you pull that butt straight on up, and we pull the shirt down, and we get to work.
That's right.
This is a little bit more than I signed up for in here, I think.
That was the end of the speech,
Yeah, that was
Bill. Coach, I'm so sorry.
Have you ever played O-line?
Oh, I don't mess around with the O-line, Coach. Coach, I will
Well, at
tell
least
you
you're
this
smart
much,
enough to understand.
Coach, I will tell you this much. For some reason, and then I think this is why you and I hit it off. For some reason, when I was in college, the guys I hung around with were the O-linemen. I love the O-linemen. All my buddies, you go back to me in North Carolina, and it's the O-linemen. We're all running around together. I used to be like their pass protection dummy. Right? We would go out on a Friday night and they would pound me from one guy to the next.
I'm so sorry, Bill. Honestly, Coach, I thought this was so put together and so great, and then it's falling off the rails quick.
Fast. This must be my fault.
Coach, listen this way.
All right, this is it. Less than 20 seconds left.
Listen this way. So we're out one night and all the old linemen are pass proing me around. We're hanging out there. And one of my buddies' brother was there. One of the old linemen's brothers there, and he didn't know who I was. Right, and he looked over his brother, who played in the NFL for like 12 years, Kevin Donnelly, and he said, "Kevin, I don't know who this Joe Yacht guy is, but man, is he ever resilient?" He just beat me from one, and I would come back for more.
Yeah.
Coach,
Good
can't
stuff,
wait.
Coach.
We're going to regroup, so we'll stop down with after this conversation with Coach. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for having me.
Excited to
Fun.
see you guys get to work.
Tear 'em up, Dirks.
New Year's Six.
Let's go, baby.
I have no doubt Coach Durkin is going to get these big boys ready and, be ready to play on New Year's Day. All I know, the Flames will never lose a game in 2023.
Good point.
Wow.
Point well, Durkin.
That's good.
Okay.
Point well, Durkin.
Before I forget, I just want to give a shout out to Ryan Carr and our equipment staff for
the new helmet.
doing the new giving us a new helmet, Sparky. This I think is my new favorite.
I like it.
But throughout the entire season, his entire staff has done an incredible job with those helmets, week in and week out, just all the equipment in general. So shout out to them. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more breaking down. That was kind of like a little crazy, just Durkin walking right in. We've never done that.
When Dirk comes in, you're not going to slow him down.
No.
You can't
Why
stop.
would you try to stop him?
No.
He's a momentum moving forward. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I do not want to get in his way. So let's talk about this CUSA championship game. Our initial takeaways, I was a little disappointed in some of, our play on the defensive side of the ball.
Why you got to go negative, right?
I'm not going negative, but I was just a little worried, a few plays.
That's what she does. That's just naturally she leads.
We're going to need to clean up some things on that side.
You had a right to be.
I was just a little frustrated.
I'll say my big takeaway was this. Before the game started, I asked, Coach Shadwell 2 questions coming off the bus. And he had said a line where he said, "We play our best in the biggest games."
Yeah.
And when he said it, you felt it.
You feel
like,
the
okay,
confidence.
well, I believe you. And that was never more true than with Caden Salter.
Yeah.
He played, I would say, his best game as a Flame on the biggest stage in a game where the defense was having some struggles and they were giving up some points where you needed to. Early in that game, Liberty was down 7-0. They were down 14-7. You kept being all right, well, we got to answer again. He stepped up time and time again. He made some incredible throws. He made the run where the option broken play, and he just turned it back, and there's 3 guys staring him in the face, and he made them all miss and took it to the house. He did everything in this game and didn't make the mistake. We talked, Joe and I were talking during the game, it feels like that game where, whoever makes that first turnover, that could be the difference. He didn't make the mistake.
No.
And that's the best I've ever seen him play, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
Listen to this stat line. Okay, so he went 20 for 25, 319 passing yards. QBR was 97.6. Rushing, 12 carries for 165 yards.
Went over 1,000.
It is unbelievable. So he needs to throw for 250 yards in that bowl game, which is going to be very difficult, but to be the 3,000, 1,000.
And I know you're right about the defense did struggle along the way, but, I went back and we did our pregame show and I did keys to the game. And I thought, you get in these conference championship games, and I think coaches are more apt to go for it on 4th down. And I said the team that wins that 4th down battle will have the best chance to win the game. and that when Von Blue, they ran the toss sweep to Von Blue,
Yeah.
and then he got it, they reviewed it, came back and said he didn't get it. That's because I think at that point, I think they were up 14-7 at that point.
Yep, that's right.
And I thought, oh, right, they went down once, twice. It's 14-7. We're going in to score. They stop us on 4th down. They get the ball back. They march down the field and go 21-7. This is a different ball game. And I think on that series, Liberty's defense got a 3-and-out, got the ball back, and went back and scored and made it 14-14. The one thing about this defense, and you're right, don't get me wrong, you're right. Like they were giving up some big plays. Pavi went out of the game. They went to a backup quarterback. Backup quarterback looked just as good as Pavi looked.
I know.
Blaze
Burlowitz was tearing it up. And the thing though that this defense has always done, whether that was Middle Tennessee State, other games, is that when it came time to make the plays and you had to make the plays, they made them.
And that was Brandon Bishop, right?
Brandon Bishop's
One-handed interception.
One-handed interception. You go back, that Middle Tennessee's the one Preston Hodge had in that game. So it's like they made the plays and they had to make the plays. They made the stops and they had to make the stops. And that was the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, Brandon Bishop came up big in this game. He had 11 total tackles, 6 solos. So he had a great game, led the Flames on the defensive side.
And then you look up at the end of the game and you see 712 total yards.
Oh,
like
my
that.
gosh,
That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, didn't punt in the game. You know, that's just, the offense was just at another level.
I think that when you go back to the bowl discussion on them picking for the New Year's Six game is, and I said this, I thought, my bold prediction was, or not score prediction, was 21-20 Liberty.
Right.
I really felt as if there was going to be a lot more defense in this game after you saw, like, hey, they held Auburn to 10 points, right? Their defense, Matt had the stats out. They were giving up like 3 yards, just over 3 yards per attempt.
They hadn't
rushing.
given up 30 points in 10 straight games.
Yeah, so I mean, it had all the fingerprints on it of like could be a defensive battle, a few turnovers here, and it was the complete opposite of that. Liberty dominated the offensive side of the ball, and I think when the committee looks at that from an excitement standpoint and a good game standpoint, it's like, dude, this offense is very difficult to stop, and they can put up big
because
numbers.
typically, and you mentioned some of those upsets, the Tulane, the Boise State, typically, if the underdog wins those games, they're not winning 17-13.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
They're winning a shootout.
Yeah.
They're winning like Tulane did against USC, which was like 52-49 or whatever it was.
Right.
Like, that's the way they win. That's the way they compete. And so, yeah, to your point, like, I think we all agree, when Liberty plays Oregon, they're not going to win 17-14.
Right.
If Liberty pulls it off, it's going to be a high-scoring, back and forth game.
So going off the New Year's Six, Boo Corrigan was asked by our Chris Vanini, who comes on our pregame show, which we need Flames fans. Not everybody has to be.
Give Vanini a break.
Lay off Vanini. He is doing his job.
I like Vanini a lot.
And he was wondering about. He was asked Boo Corrigan about. Similar to Florida State, SMU lost its starting quarterback late in the season. Did that play any factor in the decision to have Liberty ahead of SMU? Boo said, no, it didn't. As we are looking at it, Liberty 5-0 against teams 500 or above. Put up 700-plus yards against New Mexico State, a team that a week before went down and held Auburn to 10 points. Again, each one of these is held in isolation and looking at it, and SMU goes from unranked to ranked. A really good win against Tulane, but at the end of the day, the committee voted for Liberty at 23, SMU at 24. So we talked going into this game, does Liberty, the conference championship, does Liberty need to have those style points? Do those style points matter? And I think in the end, it did. To go off of it, Vanini asked, how deep was the schedule conversation? The fact that SMU lost to Power 5 teams and Liberty didn't play Power 5 teams. How do you guys square that? It was part of the conversation as we were going through it. Our job is not to regulate who plays whom. It's just on the opponents that they do play. But again, Liberty is averaging over 500 yards a game, scoring over 40 points. Looking at it any differently than going against their schedule. And again, we do strength of schedule and bands. And the band between SMU and Liberty was not so great that we looked at it as a key reason to change the vote. So that's just some more clarification.
That's good.
You're a really good reader.
Yeah.
You read
she is
that
good.
really well.
Yeah.
Well, was I supposed to paraphrase it? I was just, I didn't want, hey, I'm a reporter.
right.
I don't want to put words in anybody else's mouth. I want to do straight from the source.
And this was,
and that's important to know because I think there's been a lot of discussion about, well, Bill Live did not give a good explanation of why they chose Liberty. They kept winning games like that. Well, so did Florida State. So I think that this explanation represents a lot better reason of why Liberty deserved to get that New Year's.
Well, and obviously there's been a lot of arguments about Florida State and should they have been in or not. But I think
they should have.
I think if you are going to penalize them for their quarterback being hurt, I was saying going into the selection show, SMU needs to be in that same boat. Because if you're grading it by who are you now, not who you were at your best, well, SMU, while they beat Tulane and Florida State beat Louisville, they didn't do it the way they would have done it with their starting quarterback. Their quarterback turned it over 3 times. They kicked 1 million field goals. Like if you're going to grade one that way, you need to grade the other that way.
So is SMU's starting quarterback? I don't know his injury.
He broke his leg against Navy.
Okay.
So he was done.
He was done.
So he was done.
If he would have been healthy.
I don't like that mindset anyway. I don't believe in that. But if that is a factor for you in one case, it should have been a factor in the other. And in the end, whether it was or not, I don't know. But Liberty gets the nod.
He said it wasn't.
But I think here's the thing regarding all of it, right? Whether this was to keep FSU out and to put Alabama in, whatever, is that you simply, the committee looks there and like everybody thinks there's sabotage and it's all this and whatever. But I don't think it's true at all. But the committee sits there and they look and they have weights. It's weight. Like how much do you want to weigh strength of schedule? How much do you want to weigh injuries? How much do you want to weigh if you were the Power 5 Conference Championship for FSU? And so they look at all of that, and with those weights, they figure, okay, then all right, it's a little. We need to go with this team. And I think it's as simple as whether that's FSU, like the weight of the top 4 teams, where they said, FSU won the thing, which is true. All the arguments are true. But ultimately, they had to weigh something heavier than the other. And what they weighed more was who are the best 4 teams in the country right now. That's what they took, whether it's right or wrong. That's what they took and weighed. And they said, if you were, and I thought this was a really good point because there's like 4 or 5 coaches that are on that committee. They went to Boo Corrigan and talked about how they went to the coaches. And they said, if you're Michigan right now, who would you rather play? Would you rather play Alabama or would you rather play Florida State? And they said, I'd rather play Florida State because they don't have their quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? And so the bottom line was that carried a lot of weight. And that's what got Alabama.
But you can't tell me that Michigan's better than Georgia. I don't know. I know it's just on paper. But the thing is if that's the case, then why put Florida State in between Alabama and Georgia?
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Florida State is not better than Georgia without their starting quarterback. If you're going to rank it like that.
I'm just saying that was their weight for keeping them out.
And I heard some of the guys saying on the pregame show or the watch, whatever, the selection show, and I agree with it. Like, when it is that subjective, this is what you're going to get.
This is what you get.
If it's you're looking for who would be the best right now, as opposed to you're looking for who has the best resume, that's what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna get.
And that's where they put more weight. They put the weight on give me the best 4 teams right now. Yeah. That was a part of the bigger part of the equation.
I have a problem with that when people always, what do they praise college football for compared to the NFL? Oh, the regular season means something.
Yeah.
In the NFL, it doesn't mean anything. Everybody goes to the playoffs. But in college football, every regular season game means something.
Right.
Well, not really, because Florida State went 13-0.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean anything.
Yeah. A tweet I saw from Nick Pierce here at Liberty, one of the voice of the Flames. 8 years ago, Liberty finished tied for 3rd in the Big South football standings. Today, Liberty is undefeated and headed to the Fiesta Bowl as CUSA champions. I hope everyone realizes just how insane this is, how blessed we are, and how far ahead of schedule this program is. So obviously, what they've been able to accomplish is just remarkable. No one would have ever thunk it. No. But if there was a 12-team college playoff, Liberty would be in the playoff right now. Like, that to me is just unbelievable. What does this do for this program in terms of, we talked a little bit about recruiting and stuff for Durkin, but really, what does this do for this program?
I mean, first of all, it was like yesterday. 5 years ago, whatever it was, when Matt Warner was on the call, which will go down as close to being to Do You Believe in Miracles? Do You Believe in Miracles? 1980 Miracle on Ice.
Right.
To DJ Stubbs catching the first touchdown in Williams Stadium, and Matt Warner hits him with the welcome to the FBS.
Yeah.
Matt Warner, that was like it was yesterday.
It really
You
was.
said
That's what
that
it
on the
feels
call?
like. It's his first
Welcome
call.
to the
He caught the ball and
FBS.
said, welcome to the FBS. And now this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now we're playing Oregon in the New Year's Six Bowl.
Unbelievable.
And to answer the question regarding recruiting, I think, it obviously is huge because you're going to get the national spotlight now. And now your name is in the conversation with playing with these teams. So I think it's difficult. I mean, like Colton Korn, who does the recruiting for Liberty, Jamie Chad, all the staff, like now you have to, this is when it gets really hard because now you have to make decisions on what kids you're going to recruit. That's why I asked that question to Durkin. It's like, now do we go out and start going for 4-star, high 3-star, 4-star, even 5-star kids? Because we're playing Oregon. We're at the top of the heap now, right there with them. But then the bigger question is, can you really get those kids?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like it's a high wire act.
Well,
up
I
there.
think that
You do have to recruit at a higher level, obviously, that you want to. But at the same time, it's like now you're going up against Tennessee.
Right.
Can you actually get the kid?
Yeah, but I think that them choosing Liberty to be in this New Year's Six will help that argument
1,000%.
so much because you can say, and there's those recruiting homes,
it's why.
Hey, you can go to Tennessee and you can potentially play in the college football playoff, but here at Liberty you can too, and you're going to start, you know? So
and no one, I think, will benefit more than the guy that was sitting right here in Coach Durkin in terms of recruiting offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Newland, Isaac, when you're out there recruiting at the running back position, running back, O-line, those should be the positions where Liberty can start to recruit at that level faster.
Yeah.
Because you see now, you want to be a part of the top rushing offense in the country. You want to be involved running the football in all these variety of ways. You come here.
Yeah.
You're going to get every opportunity. Oh, we're going to run 3 backs out there, and they're all going to get a bunch of touches. Like, with certain position groups like that, I feel like Liberty even more so moves up maybe faster in terms of recruiting than even some other spots.
And the other thing too is the transfer portal. That's the whole other word of recruiting, is that you can go into the transfer portal now. And if you're a kid that's at Alabama, for example, or Florida State, right, and you're behind a first-round draft choice, well, now, boy, Liberty's a school that in the mix that you just watched them play on a New Year's Six game on January 1 against Oregon, compete like, hey, that might be a place I can go into. What you said, Emily, I can go in and start right away and have the opportunity. So the transfer portal is going to be great for Liberty.
And the other thing is, with the mission of Liberty, I think for Christian schools in general, there's usually the idea of you have to sacrifice playing at the highest level to go to a school like Liberty.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's out the window.
Yeah.
You don't have to sacrifice anything anymore. You can come to a place like Liberty with its mission and play and compete at the very highest level in the biggest games, in the New Year's Six. You don't have to sacrifice anything. And Liberty's talked about it for years. That's always been the hope.
Now it's a reality.
It's here. It is here.
Say it after me. Training champions for Christ.
Yeah, it's here.
It's here.
It's here.
It's here. We have arrived. It's been really exciting. We're going to have a lot of time, a couple weeks to talk more about Oregon and go more in depth about the New Year's Six Bowl. With
What was the play of
schedules.
the game? What was the play of the game?
The Alcova Mortgage play of the game.
Play of the game. What was the play of the game?
Wait a second.
Turning point of the game.
Before we get to that, why don't we talk about the power pass-off? Will there be a power pass-off, ladies and gentlemen?
Part 2.
Will there
Hold up.
for the bowl game?
Whoa.
Will Alcova?
I don't have to do this again, do I?
Yes, you may.
I started hot,
Hey.
I know.
and I
I
crashed.
had so many people at the game Friday night. I lost track of how many people. I'm just walking up to the stadium, and people are in line waiting to come in, and guys like, hey, did you win? Hey, who won the, hey? And I had to be like, well, yeah, I won. And they're like, you better win. Like, so many people were commenting about it. If I had lost,
You know who he's like?
I would have to move. I would quit my job and
Emily.
moved. I
I
couldn't have
said
stayed.
that.
I could not have stayed here.
Emily, you know who he's like right now? And he'll like this because he's a big Rocky fan. He is like post Rocky 1 right now. When
I've never seen Rocky.
Oh, what?
Oh boy.
Well, after Rocky and Apollo go toe to toe for 15 rounds, And Apollo whispers in Rocky's ear,
Ain't gonna be no
"There
rematch.
Ain't gonna be no rematch.
Ain't gonna be no
There ain't gonna be
rematch.
no rematch."
Yeah.
And guess what? There was a Rocky 2.
Well, maybe.
So Rocky 2 is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Emily was
I
3 for 3.
I
She had 15 seconds. You had 4. You were tied with them.
I know.
And he fell apart.
Maybe if Matt doesn't want a rematch, maybe we can do like 2 of the Liberty quarterbacks or 2 of the Liberty coaches or something.
We'll do something
like
great.
a Colton and Willie Corn. You never know.
We'll do something great.
You've got the big boards.
I
We
think
gotta
we
do
should
something.
do
You're backed
something.
by Alcova Mortgage. I mean, this isn't hard.
I think we should do another power pass off for 2 fans to get tickets to the Fiesta Bowl. I think
Powered
so.
by Alcova
Powered
Mortgage.
Powered by
We'll work
Alcova
on that.
Mortgage.
Let's work
Ticket
on that.
giveaway?
Yeah.
Let's try to do that.
Yeah, we're just putting you on the spot.
Okay, play of the game. I would have to say.
The Alcova Mortgage power play of the game.
Wait, what was Caden scrambling for that touchdown? What was that like? What was the score
in the
then?
fourth quarter, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it
That put us up 49-35. That's the last score. I mean, I do think it was the interception.
Yeah.
Oh, the Brandon
I
Bishop
think that because that was the
interception,
turning point. It was in the end zone, right?
They were coming down. They're marching, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was
I
Brandon
think that
Bishop.
was it.
Okay.
I think it's the Caden Salter scramble for a touchdown.
Yeah, that just kind of was
That
the
was what
icing on the
broke their
cake.
back.
the
Yeah.
nail in the coffin.
Yeah, because they had them. They had them all bottled up in
I
there.
know.
It was a one-score
Durkin
game
said
at that point.
Durkin
Yeah.
said they blocked that thing up perfectly. They had it all blocked up perfectly, and those guys were meant to come through. All 3 of those guys were meant to escape through, and then he was just going to make everybody miss
right,
and
yeah.
score for a touchdown. That was
I had
perfectly
just-
blocked.
Beautifully designed.
I had just come down on
Just
the
like the coaches
field.
wanted.
And I was in that end zone, not on that side of the end zone, but I like videoed it from my phone, and I was like, no way. Is he still up from like getting? I mean, he dodged probably 6 or 7 defenders.
You know, it was a good one
insane.
is when they went for it on 4th down at the end, their final hope, and the guy caught the ball on the sideline. They called it a catch, and then they had to review it.
Oh,
Remember
no,
that?
what? Yes.
And they
yes.
overread at the very end.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Right there,
to give
yeah.
Matt Warner's credit, we were both standing right there. Same view the ref had, right? The ref called it a catch, and Matt Warner looked at me and he said, "That's not a catch."
That's not a catch. Knows the
And
football.
sure enough.
Touch. Yeah.
Sure enough, wasn't a catch.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit hoops.
No,
and then,
well,
no,
are we?
and then we're going to get to mailbag.
We got mailbag. We got Snell scoring
Oh,
system.
gosh.
and
Oh,
Playful
Snell
Fantasy. Do we
scores
wanna go
is a
into-
big deal.
Do you want to go into that?
Because it was the only way I
Okay,
stayed alive.
we'll go into that. Liberty
I mean,
hoops
it's the
is
only way I stayed alive.
All right,
It's
let me
gonna
tell
take
you
a-
the scores that we predicted because none of us were very close. Okay, the final score was 49-35. Joe picked 21-20.
Yeah.
Emily picked 30-24. I picked 31-27. I
knew
end up
it.
winning simply because I was the highest score possible, and they blew all of our scores out of the water. So heading into the Fiesta Bowl, I have 5 points. Emily has 4.5. Joe 3.5. So Joe,
I've been eliminated.
it looks like has been.
No, we have to have a
eliminated.
bonus point in this thing. For the Fiesta Bowl, it's a New Year's Six Bowl. We're having a
Yeah.
bonus
you
point, and I don't want to argue about
constantly
this.
need
I don't want to argue
all
this.
of
I don't want to argue,
these-
but we're having a bonus point. Just figure it out.
He needs all the help that he can
Jeff
get.
Snell said bonus point for bowl game.
So,
He texted
so that's
me
the way
earlier.
he's determining all the
Let's-
tiebreakers.
Let's
We'll figure
talk
that out.
about our Flames Fantasy
Let's
League.
not say
Did
we
I
did.
get 4,000 points? Have I reached? Because
She's the Caden Salter.
another hat trick from Glenn Cooley. You have got to be kidding
Emily,
me.
this was your best week of the season. Because you had
I didn't
Cooley
think it was possible.
had 3 touchdowns. Daniels had a monster game. You even had the interception from Brandon Bishop. What the heck?
Oh,
72.2 points for Emily for a grand total of 585 points.
that is more. 72 points. That's what like you have total on the season, right?
Sure, it hurts
yeah.
a little bit.
Joe had 25 points, one of his
Yeah,
better
but
weeks.
I got
For
Salter's points.
322, it doesn't matter. I had 39, pretty good for 429, but
She
so it
scored
doesn't
So
matter.
70
you're-
points.
You're
I mean,
at
I'm over 100.
429, and
If you
I'm-
add Salter's points for the last 3 weeks, it's around 90 something points, and that wouldn't even put us in the ballpark. Like it'd get me
a little
not
closer.
even, but still, not
Yeah.
even. It's over.
Wow, it's over.
It's over.
She's a runaway train.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll have a lot of coverage on the Fiesta Bowl in the coming weeks. Hopefully we'll have feet on the ground there.
That's the
Boots
plan.
on the ground.
That's the plan.
Is that boots on the ground? Sorry,
on
wrong
the ground,
phrase.
Well,
Um,
depends if you wear the boots or not.
Yeah, you're not
It's
even
gonna be
wearing
warm.
shoes.
It's gonna
He's
be
not
warm,
wearing
so
shoes
yeah.
right now. So
Flip-flops on the ground.
Maybe the Flame Central podcast will be powered by Alcova Mortgage at the
Wow.
Fiesta Bowl. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm just throwing ideas.
Love it.
Do you want
So-
mailbag?
Love it.
Um,
Mailbag.
Mailbag?
Let's do
Let's do
mailbag.
mailbag.
All right, mailbag.
Make you smile. Mailbag.
I had a couple people ask a version of this question. Was the New Mexico State win the biggest win in Liberty history? And is this the best team at Liberty ever, regardless of what happens in the bowl? So I know you, me, and Pat Kelly were talking a little bit before the game. Biggest win, would it be if they beat New Mexico State? I think it has to be, simply because what it opened up, right? It opened up the New Year's Six.
That's true.
Now, you could say, and everyone has their own criteria. For some, the BYU win could be because of the, Dr. Falwell and what that meant to the school. That that could be. Yeah. There was the Coastal Carolina beating them to make the FCS playoffs back under Gill. The Baylor win was kind of a like, hey, we're on the map moment. But
Arkansas.
Arkansas, right?
On the road.
Maybe if last year had finished different, that one would feel like it. But I think that it had to be winning a conference title for the first time, and what that led to, completing a perfect season, but then leading to the opportunity for New Year's Six. That's kind of got to be, doesn't it?
I think that has to be. But in terms of like Dr. Falwell's vision, I think the BYU. But yeah, I think
less about maybe the opponent in this game, more so about
the opportunity, like you're saying.
Well, I think, and I think Rhett said something on the pregame show about this exact topic, but to me, it was like, this is the greatest season in Liberty football history because of going 13-0.
Yeah.
I think if you look at it from the body of work, right, that to cap it off of that New Mexico State win with the Conference USA championship gives you the greatest season of all time. In terms of individual games, right?
In a vacuum.
Yes, like, hey, we have one game what's your big win? I think the BYU win at home in a dominating fashion. Dr. Falwell's vision of this program, and now even more coming to fruition, was the biggest win. But for a season,
that's a good way.
That was it.
Yeah,
and
as far as like the best team.
Now the best team. That's a question.
Tough. Like, I feel like this is the best offense, but I think there's other. I don't know, because then you're like leading. Are we still leading in interceptions? Like, I don't know.
Look at this
I think it could be the best.
I mean, what you're looking at is you're taking this team and you're putting them against one of the Malik Willis teams. Everybody else, everybody else, like, don't get me wrong, there's some good teams, but it's not this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and another
so
point about
what would that team, the 2021 team, 2020 team, how would that team do against this team? And I'll be honest with you,
I think this team.
I think I like this team. I think they just score too many points. And that defense 20 was great, but I think they're just they make scoring points look easy.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, I think I agree with you.
One other thing in the mailbag, and this came to us from our buddy Mark Murdoch.
The Murdoch, Madman Murdoch. I love Madman. I have no idea.
He asked. Well, first he asked, were we surprised Liberty was able to rack up 700 yards? And I think we covered that. Yeah, we thought it'd be more of a defensive struggle. But he had an interesting note. Did you know that the Fiesta Bowl began in 1971?
Yeah.
Little coincidence.
I'm gonna cry.
Little coincidence.
Somebody tweeted about that.
How sweet is that?
I cannot.
Yeah, how sweet is that, huh? So I don't know. I'm just saying that maybe.
Oh
maybe
my gosh, that's amazing.
Good omen, whatever.
Wow, that's incredible.
All I know is this much: that Jerry Falwell Sr. is body surfing somewhere up in heaven. He loved that body surfing. They used to put him in the studio. You ever seen those pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there for a couple of days. He would just walk up to there and he'd take they'd body surf him right on up. He loved that.
I think
he is body surfing with the angels in heaven right now.
I think it's amazing how he's probably rejoicing. Okay, so we'll have a lot of content coming your way. With this holiday season, we're trying to put together I believe it's the 4th annual gingerbread house competition. Speaking of houses, if you're looking to buy one, I have a guy for you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Thank you, Emma. That was a great lead. Yes, with all this excitement going around Liberty University, it's a great time of the year to buy a house.
To move to Lynchburg.
If you're just getting swept up in all the emotions,
why not make a very quick, irrational decision and search and look for a house that you probably really don't need or want, can't afford. So what? It's a simple monthly payment, and I'm here to make sure that you don't overdo it.
Yes, he's the voice of reason.
We'll keep those debt-to-income ratios in line for you, Liberty alumni and employees. Alcova Mortgage. Go to alcova.com/Liberty, where you can receive a 1% of whatever your loan amount is, up to $5,000 off your closing costs.
Wow.
And we
That's
give
real
you
money.
a great deal, take care of you. Real money. Go visit alcova.com/Liberty. We'll take great care of you.
Yeah.
All right, Hoops will be back on the hardwood here at Liberty Arena tomorrow night. Matt will be on the call for that. He'll be on the call tonight as well for women's hoops. So
Matt is
be
a
sure
busy man.
Yeah, he is a busy guy.
By the way, let's give a shout out to the on-field interviews with Matt Warren.
Oh, so
Those
great.
are great.
Well, listen,
I love
that
it.
was fun. M was just mixing it up in there as well. All the piece that she put out. The
I
piece
don't know how I got Chadwell.
the piece that she put out of all the reaction on Liberty Football social media. Check it out.
I got Caden Salter the last drive. I got Caden Salter. I just grabbed him from basically the huddle and just the game wound down or the clock wound down. I grab him, his helmet's still on, and I'm just like, I need an interview with you. He's like, are we live? No, we weren't. But no, I like that was incredible to be on the field. Students rushed the field. It was a really cool moment.
Y'all talk incited a riot.
Yeah. Yock was getting them all fired up.
Yeah,
trying to get them on the field.
So go and relive all of that on Liberty social media handles. Like I said, we'll have some great content coming your way. Hopefully get a sit down here with Jamie Chadwell as well. So we'll keep you posted on all of that. In the meantime, we'll be back here next Monday.
Yep.
Same time, same place. Hopefully we get another guy, football guy on the show and talk more about the Fiesta Bowl. Anything else, guys?
Can't wait to start digging into Oregon a little bit.
I know. It's going to be exciting stuff. I think that's it. Okay, for Joe and Matt and Emily, we'll see you next week.
Let's do it.